people value and always will value opinions, experiences, and perspectives of other people. Before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the sponsor for this episode, Ahrefs. Ahrefs provides you with an all-in-one SEO toolset that does everything from rank tracking to backlink analysis, keyword research, and technical audits. The best part, you can now use Ahrefs Webmaster Tools for free to identify and prioritize optimization opportunities for your website, see all the keywords that your web pages are ranking for, take a close look at the websites that link back to and refer you in their content, and analyze other websites to find out what drives their rankings. Visit ahrefs.com/AWT and sign up for free. And now, back to today's episode. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SaaS SEO Show. This is Solo's episode number 4. The previous one was one of our most successful episodes and most downloaded episodes so far, actually. The one on the publishing velocity case study, which is now a published case study on our website as well. You can feel free to check it out. So we decided to do this Solo's episode and discuss Google's SGE. For those of you who are not aware of the acronym SGE, it stands for Search Generative Experience, and it's something that Google introduced in May 10th in their Google I/O event. There were many things that were introduced in that event, and one of them was a series of changes in Google search, right? And following the event, there has been a beta version and invitation to certain users to join the beta version and start using it of this new search generative experience, SGE. And of course, at this point, we all need to understand a couple of things. The first would be that Google's SGE is still in beta, right? Many things can and most likely will be different in the public version. And of course, our ultimate goal with this episode is to share everything we know about the change to help you kind of put things in perspective, because we understand that right now there is a lot of buzz and maybe concern, and in some cases even fear around all the upcoming changes. But the truth is that at this point, we have to base our actions and everything we say on facts, right? So this is what this episode is going to be about. We will discuss certain facts, things that we know for sure right now, in an effort to help you once again put things into perspective and not be as concerned about the upcoming changes, which, by the way, as a content marketing and SEO agency, we welcome, right? We welcome these changes because we feel that they will, in a way, push us all to become better at what we do. And of course, they will raise the bar in a way that most likely we haven't seen as an industry yet, right? So let's start with the facts. And the first fact would be that Google, and by the way, this applies or applied from the early days of Google, it needs great content to continue training its large language models and systems, right? LLMs. How are these systems going to be trained otherwise? This is a very basic, fundamental question. Now, of course, you could say that, yes, they can use the content to train their LLMs and construct the AI answer or AI-powered overview, however you want to call it, through the process of corroboration, without giving credit to the sources and the creators and the brands and the publishers and all these kind of things. That's one way to approach it. And of course, we will see how things will look like when we get to the public version of SGE. But for now, I would say, because many things can change until we get to that public version, right? For now, what you need to keep in mind is that Google needs great content to train its LLMs, and this will not change, meaning that it will continue needing great content to continue these systems, right? So great content is not going anywhere. If anything, we all have to level up, adapt, and find new ways to create content that may be in a few years significantly different than what we see right now on the SERPs for many queries in many different industries. So this was fact number one. The second fact that we need to discuss and we need to be open about is the fact that this is not the first time that Google has applied a change to search that takes away traffic from websites, brands, and publishers, right? An example is featured snippets. Interestingly enough, Ahrefs did a study on featured snippets back in 2017. And of course, you may argue that, the data may not be kind of close to what the reality of the SERPs, search engine results pages, the reality is today. That's a valid argument, but before you say anything, let me just say that taking a close look at the data from this study, the appearance of featured snippets reduces clicks on the search results. That's something that the study has it's one of the insights, right? And the findings. And this was a study, by the way, that was based on clickstream data from 100K random search queries, right? So we can say that, what applies based on this data applies in every industry and every search query out there, right? So the appearance of featured snippets reduces the number of clicks on the search results in general, right? Because people's search intent is getting kind of satisfied. But that doesn't mean the clicks go to the featured snippet, right? And you can think of the AI answer as a featured snippet, sort of. This doesn't mean, and of course, from what we see right now, in most cases in all cases, there are no links to or credit being given to websites. So like people, even if they wanted to, they couldn't kind of click through the AI answer and get to the result that Google has used in like a certain case to once again construct the AI answer through the process of corroboration. But the point we want to make here is that I guess that we all crave a bit of a good dose of drama, and in this case we are overreacting because once again, we don't know how this thing will be. It's not the first time that Google applies such a change, right? And instead of embracing the change and saying, okay, like when featured snippets were introduced, we found a way to adapt, right? And we found a way to optimize for featured snippets. We are kind of more inclined towards drama and overcomplicating things without once again knowing how this thing will be and how the experience will be and whether or not people will like want to click on actual search results, when the public version is shared with like all search engine users, right? So this is fact number 2. And I would say it's one of these things that can ground us to reality and can allow us to learn from history, in this case, the history of Google applying changes on search, which may not be a negative thing after all, right? Fact number 3, SGE is not triggered for all searches across industries simply because at the moment, the cost of AI answers is higher than the cost of simple blue link answers, right? Not many people talk about that, but according to a study conducted by Morgan Stanley in February of 2023, this is a recent study, right? There is a significant cost attached to generating these AI answers. So, for example, as per Morgan Stanley's study, if 50% of searches generate a response from AI that is 50 words long, it could result in 6 billion of incremental costs to Alphabet. Now, of course, you could argue that 6 billion is not like too much money. Like, it's not a lot for a company like Google and its parent company Alphabet. And that could be a valid argument, but I would say that 6 billion is still a noteworthy amount, right? Of course, the point that we also need to consider here is that Google can and most likely will reduce the cost of AI answers by caching a large number of queries once it has the confidence that it is providing the right answer to a particular query. This means the answer most people are satisfied with for that query, right? But at the moment, I would say there is a fact that we need to consider, which is the cost of AI answers and generating those. And by the way, 50 words, as per Morgan Stanley's study, may be in some cases too little. I would expect that in many cases, the AI answer will be more than 50 words long, but it doesn't matter. There is a cost here. And of course, we believe that Google moving forward can optimize for that cost and alleviate the costs attached to generating AI answers. But this can work as a barrier, let's say, to begin with, right? The fourth fact that we have is that SGE is rooted in the search rankings and quality systems that, Google is using for like more than 2 decades now, which means that having a solid foundation in terms of quote unquote traditional best practices for content SEO is important, but unfortunately is not enough, okay? And this is not something that we say at Minuttia, right? You can read the overview of SGE, which is kind of a report like published by Google, which explains certain things that like people, individuals, publishers, brands, companies, and so on need to know when it comes to SGE. And I will quote 2 parts of that overview. The first, and I quote, "These models are used in tandem with our core ranking systems to deliver helpful and reliable results," end of quote. And the second one, and I quote, "That is rooted in our core search ranking and quality systems, which we have been honing for decades," end quote. So basically, SEO best practices are not going anywhere. This is what, this is all about. Just, we believe at Minuttia, and we will talk more about that, as we feel more confident about the knowledge we possess, and based on, of course, on the experiments that we run and the things that we do, we believe that it's just that most of these practices will change, right? And the way we approach things will be somehow different moving forward. So yes, if you have a very solid foundation in terms of great content, a great brand that's, highly recognizable in your industry or vertical, you have unbiased mentions by other websites and like media publications and so on, a great overall experience, you care about things like accessibility and so on. This is a solid foundation, and it's not like this will be vanished in one day, right? You have to continue improving this foundation, and like everything that we will build upon based on SGE will be on the basis of a great foundation, right? Which is, once again, is rooted in the same search rankings and quality systems that Google, has been honing for over 2 decades now. Fact number 5, and I would like to give a credit here to Neil Patel, because this is basically based on our discussion, my discussion with him for the SaaS SEO Show, where he basically said that Google's second biggest income source is in 2022, it was its Google Network ads, which generated 32.78 billion in revenue, or 11.7% of the total. Many of the partner websites in this list are still heavily reliant on organic search traffic. So if you make the connection here, if you connect the dots, you could somehow end up to a somehow safe assumption that Google would not want to harm its own revenues, right? And revenue streams and income sources. So if one of its biggest, actually its second biggest, as per publicly available data from 2022 was its Google Network ads, and many of the websites in this list are heavily reliant on Google search traffic, organic Google search traffic, then we can make the assumption that, websites will continue receiving traffic, or at least these websites, right? So this is fact number 5, and we have fact number 6, and we will close with that, which is that people value and always will value opinions, experiences, and perspectives of other people. And here I would like to quote Kathy Edwards, a vice president and general manager at Search Discovery and Ecosystems, from the presentation on the May 10th. And I quote, "Because even in a world where AI can provide insights, we know that people will always value the input of other people." End quote. I think that this kind of paints a picture, and this picture is very representative of the future of SEO, which is heavily influenced by opinions, expertise, different search perspectives, stories even shared by other people. Okay, and I would like to close with this. So we shared 6 facts, things that we know for sure, and in some cases these things kind of lead us to some safe assumptions, but I would say that it's still very early. Under no circumstances you should feel intimidated by all the changes or concerned in any way. We, as an agency, feel very confident about the fact that we can navigate all these changes, and you should, if anything, see all these things as an opportunity, not only to level up and learn new skills and become better at what you do, but also contribute to a open web that's significantly better, with better content, that's not copying what other competitors do, a web that's focused on experience and ensuring that people get what they want from their visits on our websites, and so on and so forth. That's all for now. If you stayed with me until this point, I would like to thank you. And if you haven't subscribed yet to our podcast on podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, feel free to do so. And if you want to keep up with our videos, since we publish the video version of every interview that we do for the SaaS SEO Show and some other videos as well, make sure to head over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button, so you can keep up and stay tuned with everything that we publish there. We will share more things and more learnings and more, insights as we learn more about this new search generative experience. For now, what I want you to do is, of course, keep up with the changes and make sure that you are updated, but under no circumstances, let fear take over. Everything is going to be fine, and see this as an opportunity for growth and not as something that, may take away your job or anything like that. Thank you very much. Before you go, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the sponsor for this episode, Ahrefs. Ahrefs provides you with an all-in-one SEO toolset that does everything from rank tracking to backlink analysis, keyword research, and technical audits. The best part, you can now use Ahrefs Webmaster Tools for free to identify and prioritize optimization opportunities for your website, see all the keywords that your web pages are ranking for, take a close look at the websites that link back to and refer you in their content, and analyze other websites to find out what drives their rankings. Visit ahrefs.com/AWT and sign up for free.